What's up, guys? Rick here with my top 5 fades for this week's Houston Open. These are 5 golfers that I will be either completely avoiding or significantly underweight on versus the rest of the field for one reason or another. Keep in mind that Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, will be the live chat, so we can talk through some of these fades. We can talk ownership and head-to-head matchups and bets or whatever else you guys want. That'll be Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time on the Rick Run Good YouTube channel. Check it out. But yeah, I think that's it. Oh, I'm going to go in reverse order this time. Someone gave me a really good idea. They said, hey, don't do the top guys first, do them last, build the anticipation. So here I am, building the anticipation, man of the people. I think it was a really good suggestion. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up to the top of the board for this week's fates. We're going to start with Ollie Shniederjans, who I know for years has been just a darling of the DFS community. Things have not been going so hot for him. He's ranked just inside the top 300 in the world, and he's coming off one of his best finishes on the PGA Tour in, I don't know, a very long time, multiple years. He finished third at the Bermuda Championship, and I think that, you know, because he doesn't wear a hat, because he has a recognizable last name, for whatever reason, he gets more played than he should. The issue that I have with him right now isn't really so much the recent form. I mean, he's been playing actually fairly well on the Korn Ferry Tour, but he hasn't played a whole ton. He's got a bunch of missed cuts, but then he's also been peppering in a bunch of top 10s and a bunch of top 15s. I'm a bit concerned about what he did at Bermuda. You know, the third place finish, we don't have a lot of data on that, right? Without the shot link information, we don't know if he putted his brains out, if he was just ball striking it all over the place. I did get a bit of the eye test, and he seemed to be playing okay from the shots that were televised on him. I just think you're going to see whatever an influx looks like for a guy like Ollie Shniederjans, 5% too much, 10% too much. I just don't want to be a part of it. If he continues to play well, if he can do it this week in Houston with shot link, he can change my mind. So I'm not set in stone on this one, but he's someone that I will probably have 0 shares of throughout the week. Phil Mickelson is next, and I'm honestly not sure how much this even has to be said about Phil Mickelson, but I do feel like there is always a contingent of people who are willing to play him because they like him, which I like him too, don't get me wrong. But also, there's also this theory that on courses where you can just, you know, it doesn't matter if you miss, right? Which I don't know how true this is, but people are saying, you know, you can bomb it anywhere you want at Memorial Park. Even if that were true, even if hitting the fairway wasn't all that important, that's not Phil's only problem. Yes, he's lost strokes in 5 consecutive starts off the tee, but he's been pretty poor with his irons in 4 of his last 5, including losing 5 strokes on approach over 4 rounds at the Zozo Championship. His putter, that magic putter, has been letting him down. He's been a net loser for his last 8 measured events. And the around the green magic, yeah, it's still there at times, but it's not enough to save the rest of his game. So even if you say it doesn't matter if Phil sprays it off the tee, which counterpoint, I do think it matters. The rest of his game isn't strong enough to make up for it like it was once a couple of years ago. So for Phil, still not buying the narrative that you can spray it, still think there's plenty of holes in his game and he has to fix and plug all of them before he's going to find any success here on the PGA Tour. I'm out on Phil until further notice. Speaking of guys that I might be out on until further notice, I mean, Jordan Spieth. Again, if you removed his name, what would his odds be? What would his price be on DraftKings? He's 60-1 to win the golf tournament, which is already pretty deep. He might be closer to 80 or 100 in reality. Just absolutely in a similar cut of cloth that Phil Mickelson is right now, where there's just so many holes. He has lost strokes off the tee in 9 consecutive events. He's lost strokes on approach in 4 consecutive events. The putter at times has been hot. Of course, he gained a stroke per round at the Zozo Championship, but in his 6 starts before that, 6 combined starts before that, he's like negative 12 strokes putting over those events. I mean, it's just really bad right now. The magic putter isn't able to save him. He's trying to plug every single leak. I think he needs just a reset, right? I think he needs to split with Greller. I think he needs to hear new voices. I think he needs the hardest of resets because so much is wrong in his game right now. But every time we go to Texas, you hear, oh, Jordan Spieth in Texas might have to play that. I didn't mind it a couple of weeks ago. I think it was at the Zozo because, he's making a lot more birdies. So I like him more in fantasy settings than I do kind of in outright settings. But it's still, he's almost too toxic to touch right now. I don't care what state he's in. I'm more concerned about the state of his game, which is not very good. As much as I love Russell Henley, I cannot find a way to be overweight on him this week. I respect everything that he's done. 4 top 10s in his last 6 starts. He's been ball striking it like a madman. But a couple of weeks ago, I talked about us being at critical mass with Xander Schauffele, right? He was playing beautifully. He was now like the odds-on favorite, or not the odds-on favorite. He was the betting favorite. And everyone was going to be on him. And it kind of feels that way with Russell Henley again. But the caveat with Henley is the price you're paying. He opened up at 16-1. He was the second shortest odds. It's the shortest Russell Henley has ever been. That's insane. Because you're paying for all of his Houston Open history, and all that Houston Open history doesn't matter because we're playing Memorial Park. So I just think we have the recent form, the event history, the price increase, the projected ownership. When you put all of that together, it feels like we are just at critical mass. Russell Henley, like, this cannot sustain any longer. It's going to explode at one point, and it's going to just burn everybody. I think it could be this week. So as much as I love Henley, as much as I respect what he's doing right now, the price is too much. The narrative is too much. I will not be overweight on Russell Henley. And then finally, Brooks Koepka is my final fade. He's the biggest name that I'm avoiding for this week. I understand that he's had a hand in some aspects of the redesign. I understand that he played great on Instagram the other day, 7 under through 8 or whatever he was, wearing shorts at his home course. But, to me, I look at his big weapon being the driver. It hasn't been sharp. He lost nearly 3 strokes off the tee at the CJ Cup, which is the first time we saw him since the Wyndham Championship. At the end of last season, he was still losing strokes off the tee. He was bleeding strokes on the putting green. Again, another guy who has multiple holes to plug and always has the lingering knee issue, right? Is it going to feel good this week? Is it not? Is something going to happen where he's going to tweak it? The game just hasn't been sharp. Now, he's good enough. At 80%, we've seen him finish second at the WGC FedEx, 7th at the RBC Heritage. He's good enough to kind of work through some of these issues, but it's been more bad than good for Brooks Koepka over the course of the last, 6 or 8 months or so. The restart wasn't all that good for him, and we just have so many more questions than we do have answers for Brooks Koepka. I am out this week. I hope he proves me wrong. It'll be great. If Brooks won heading into Augusta, it would be awesome, but I do not see that happening, and I very much hope that I am wrong. There you go. The 5 guys that I am either staying away from completely or will be underweight on for this week's Houston Open. Let me know who I'm right on, who I'm wrong on. Tweet me at RickRunGood or leave a comment below.